Hi everyone, it's Di here from Diane, and today I'm going to show you how I made these cards. It's called a box card. This one here is going to be for my colour creation, which is coming up before this, so you will see a sneak peek on my blog if you actually follow me on my blog. If not, please head over there to have a look. The link is always below the videos. This is using Warm and Toasty, and I just thought it was just gorgeous, a lovely Christmas one. So that's the one I've done for my blog. I did this one. This one is actually using a lot of retired products, like it's called Tea Together set, but I absolutely love it, and all the roses come from it. And there's a writing panel on the back. See, there's a writing panel on and it actually lays flat and goes into an envelope, which I'm going to show you how to make this envelope to go with it. So it will actually fit nicely into a 6 by 6 inch envelope, which I think is actually gorgeous. So we're going to make this one again, but in a different colour. I'm doing it in Bermuda Bay and Pool Party. So that's the one we're going to do today. So I'll pop this one on the side and I'll show you what we're going to need. Oops, nearly dropped it on the floor. So we're going to use these two sets. This one is in the current mini catalogue, and I believe it's carrying over into the next catalogue, and it's called Love of Leaves. And I'm only going to use this, I'm So Glad You're in My Life, which is, if you see there's just that little thing on the front there, which I've put it on. So that was really good. And then this one I'm using the little flower, the bigger flower, the teapot, and the cup. I do have a few other things that I'm using. The paper that I'm using is also retired. So for colouring in, I've got my light and dark Pool Party. I have my light and dark Granny Apple Green and light and dark Magenta Madness. Woohoo! So, and I do have a couple of odds and ends that are not even Stampin' Up products, but you know what? They fit on there beautifully, so that's all that matters. So let's go through what we need. And this is it. It's not a real lot, believe it or not. So we need a card base, which measures 11 3/4, which is the full length of an A4 sheet, by 6 inches. And then for your bottom layer on your card, this is, as I say, retired. This was from the same suite as the tea set from. So I can't remember what it's called, because this was the one only sheet that I had left. And these measure 2.5 by 3 1/4, and you want 3 of those, and a writing panel for the back of the card that measures 2.5 by 5 3/4. For the top, I have the same paper, but I'm going to use the opposite side, same as I did on the other one. And that measures 2.5 by 2 1/4, and another one that measures 2.5 by 3 1/2. You also need 2 strips, or straps, whichever you want to call them, and they're for the inside for putting the pieces on, and they measure 3 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. You'll need a piece for doing your stamping and then cutting out of your whatever you're going to pop out the top. And then for your envelope, you need an envelope piece that measures, and this is envelope paper because it's white for the outside and coloured for the inside. That's the only one I had that was close to the colouring here. So, and this measures 9 3/4 by 9 3/4. You'll need a few odds and ends, other strips. So let's move some of this stuff out of the way. I've got a few other strips that I've cut off the ends of the paper that you'll need just to prop your things up onto. Now you can use acetate or window sheeting if you wish, which I have done on this one, but I haven't got any more, so I'm using just strips of the card, which is what I did on this one. That was my last piece of acetate there that I had on those bits. But I used, as you can see down there, you can see I used card down there, and it works just as well, so it doesn't really matter. So I've got a few strips here just for that, and another strip of paper. Now I've already stamped, coloured and cut out all my pieces, because as you know I don't bring my big shot in, and plus the fact you don't need to see me colour hundreds of bits of pieces. But I will stamp one and show you how I coloured it. I'll do it on this piece, I won't do it on this piece here, so I'll pop that piece of card out of the way. But we'll get on with all what we have to do first. So first of all we need to score, so we only need to score these two straps and the main card. That's all we need to score. So we're going to bring in the scoring board, which is way back behind me for some unknown reason. And we're going to score this on the long side at 2 3/4 inches. 5 1/2 inches. 8 1/4 inches, 8 1/4, and 11. This leaves us a nice big strip, so we're not sort of fiddling to do it all. So now we're going to turn this 90 degrees to the right, so that the small edge is at the bottom here, which you can't see, it's out of the screen. So this small edge is at the bottom. And what we're going to do now is at the 3 1/2 inch mark, we're going to score down to the 8 1/4 inch mark on the side of the here. You can see this line here. So we're only going to score down to that, down to that 8 1/4 mark, no further. And then we're going to turn it over, and it doesn't matter this is never, and at 3 1/2 inch mark again we're going to score, now you can't see me in the top, just down to that 3/4 inch mark there, that score line just there. So our score lines are 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, 11, turn it with a little bit at the bottom, you can't see it here, and at the 3 1/2 inch mark we're going to go through to the 8 1/4 inch mark, which you can see on the side here, and then from there down to the 11 3/4 inch mark. So we've done those bits, and then with these pieces we're just going to pop them in here, and we're going to score them at a 1/2 inch, turn it and do it at a 1/2 inch. And we're going to do that on both pieces. So 1/2 inch, turn it around a 1/2 inch. Oh gosh, there we go. So that's all our scoring done. Let's put my scoring board down there out of the way, and let's bring in this piece here. So what we're going to do first of all is we're actually going to, with our small ends here on the right hand side, we're going to cut away the top one. So that's the part that, this is a 3 1/2 inch side, and that's the piece we want to keep. So the 2 1/2 inch side we're going to cut away. So we're going to cut that completely away because we don't need it. And then we're going to just notch that piece top and bottom to the score line. And we're doing this before we fold it, for the simple reason that it's so much easier. So they're going to cut down on the top bit, which is the 2 1/2 inch edge. We're going to cut that down to the 3 1/2 inch score line. I'm going to use my other scissors so I can do it in one foul swoop rather than chomping along the line. You get a much better cut that way, and as you can see. So now that we've done all of that, we can actually now fold and burnish. So these flaps here now get folded towards you. If you've got the bottom facing you, they get folded towards you, remembering not to do the last one with no score, without the score line on it. And we can pop those back up, and now we're going to just fold and burnish the other score lines the other way. Okay, so before we go any further, I've got my corner rounder here. Now this is optional, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to round the corners on all of my ends, all of my top pieces. Oops, that didn't cut very well. That's better. Oh my goodness, that one didn't cut very well either. I'm going to use my other board to finish that one off. So I'm doing this on all of them, including the long one that's not folded. Now I'm just going to bring in my punch board, because that one didn't punch very nice at all, so I'm just going to pop that one in there and punch him off nicely. There we go. So, oops. What we're going to do next is we're actually going to pop our pieces of designer series paper onto these pieces, this card. So with the edge where the top pieces are flat towards you, so you've got your tab on the right hand side, your long one and 3 short ones. We're going to put our 3 longer pieces of designer series paper along the bottom here. So let's get my glue going. It's been a bit chilly, so the glue doesn't like to move very well. Whoops. And we can fit these in here just lovely. I just thought this is a lovely way. I mean, I know that I'm not showing you all new products or anything like that, but I'm actually just, this is more of a technique or a card design so that you can do whatever you like with. And it's great for all sorts of occasions. As you can see, I did a Christmas one and I was really happy with the way that turned out. So we have our sheet pieces on there, and now we're going to turn that over so that the inside is showing, and we're going to put our other 3 pieces, which we're going to round the corners on the, not on the 2.5 inch side, on the, not on the 2.25 inch side, but on the ends of the 2.5 inch ends. So let's do all of those. Let's pop them out of the way, all those scrappy bits. And now we're going to glue our other pieces of designer paper onto these 3 pieces here, leaving this black, this long one without the score line, blank on both sides. So let's pop them, glue on there. I love this card because it's so different, and it fits, as I say, into a 6x6 inch envelope just beautifully. So it's not over the top big. You can make it smaller, but I think that making it smaller, it's very, very tiny, and you want to be able to put plenty of bits and pieces on the as you'll pop out the top. Okay, then with our other piece of designer series paper that's left, we're going to actually round the corners on that one as well. Oh, it's not doing really well, this. I'm going to just pop my other board up again and round that corner because it didn't round very nice. There we go. and that is going to go on the inside here. That's a longer piece. It's longer so that it doesn't show when we have the box closed, the edge. And that's going to go on the top just there. Oh, how good is that? Now let's pop that out of the way for the moment, and we're going to, with our writing panel, we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to round the edges. Let's see if I can get them rounded with this corner rounder beautifully. Yeah, there we go. And we're going to stamp. Where have I done with all my stamps? Here we are. We're going to stamp, oh yes, this large flower, and I forgot to get the stamp out for the other thing that says, let's pop that over there, Lover Cuppa. Okay, so using our Memento ink, we're going to stamp our larger flower in the top corner. It doesn't matter whether it's the left or the right, it's up to you, and the bottom corner. And then in the middle, I'm going to stamp Love is a Warm Cup of Tea. Oh, and he's a drunken cup of tea, so he's got a bit of scotch in him, I think. So to colour this, what I'm going to do, I will colour this one, that way I won't need to do the others because I've done all the others. So I'm using the light Granny Apple Green to colour my leaves. So I'll do both my leaves. And by doing this one on here, I don't need to stamp out the other flowers, the teapot and things. And then with the dark one, I just put around the edge here like so, on the same side on both of them. And then I then go back over it with my light one, and with time, once it dries, it will look like it's shaded into each other. It does take a little bit of time, but you can actually see it. And then using my Magenta Madness, I will do the same. I was using the dark one first in this case, and I am going to just go around the edge of this flower, like the petals on it, around the inside edge, because that's where it would look darker, of these petals. And a couple of those bits in there. Oh, I missed this one. So let's do the other one the same. Excuse me for not talking while I'm doing this. And once you've done that, we can just bring in the light one, and we can just go right over the top of the whole lot of the flower. And this Magenta Madness is such a beautiful colour. I absolutely love it. Whoops. And as I say, I use the same colouring on my stamped and cut out images for my teapot, which is, as you can actually see the colouring variation there and there, and I actually use the dark to give the rounding of the cup and the teapot. And that's the flowers again. As you can see where it is actually blended right in beautifully on those ones to give that effect of being up higher. So now that that piece is done, we can then pop this onto the back, which is the other piece that's open, you know, the long piece, and glue that into place. Now, because my lid's been off for a bit, my glue hole has jammed up a bit because it's quite chilly here today. Nearly the end of spring, and it's still quite a chilly day at only 19 degrees. I like a bit warmer. Myself, I prefer like 30 degrees. So we'll pop that onto the back of this one, like so. And I'll just pop my glue pin in the top of my glue because we've actually finished with the glue. And that is our card virtually ready. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to use some tear and tape because it is just so much easier. And I'm putting that on this tab here at the bottom. And I'll chop that off. So that's ready, and then I'm going to pop it also on the ends of all of these straps. Now with the straps, we don't want it over the edge, so if it's over the edge you need to cut that bit off or tuck it under once you peel the release tape off. I haven't burnished these, folded and burnished these yet, because I always wait until I'm ready to put them on so that I know that I've got them around the right way. Now the tape that I used here is obviously is 1/2 inch tape because that's the same width as the where the score lines are. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to attach these straps to the card. So we need to turn it over so that you've got the long edge with no fold facing you, right at the bottom close to you. And we're going to use one of our strips and we're just going to pop it onto the top of the next one over. So not this long one, but the first one of that's next to that, and up against this score line here. Now this is the easiest way I find to do this. And with my pencil I just now draw very carefully a line across the middle of that, across the bottom of that one there. And then I know that I'm going where I'm going to put these. So with this facing down, you need to fold your fold back towards you. So you have an L shape with your piece of double-sided tape. Sorry, I had a mental blank there. But double-sided tape folded down like an L shape. And you need to do that with the other piece as well now. Okay, so and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the release tape off of the first one, and we're going to work out. We can use a pencil. We can see if you want to do it with this one first. You can pop this on here, and you can make a mark just saying, right, well that's where the first one's got to go. So you know that it's going to go up against that line there. Then you can do a pencil line again, so you know that the next one goes up against that pencil line, and that way they are even right along the back there. Okay, and now we're going to turn them down, and we can turn these back up like so. Alright, so now we're going to fold this one over here and over the top of those two flaps, and we're going to take the release tape off this tab and off of these two pieces here. Making sure that that doesn't touch the tape. Oh gosh, I'm really having a mental break. Making sure that that doesn't touch the tape and that nothing is over the edge, because otherwise it will stick to other places. We're going to then bring this other one, the other end, straight over on top of it, which will then line up here and fold onto those ones. So once it's open, you can see, we can pop these sides down, that our pieces are now across here in the right place. I can't re-show you that one, unfortunately, but once it's down, if you bring this one over and take the release tape off all the tabs and the tag at the end here, and bring the other one over, it will then be in the right spot. And we can then just give them another push down so that they're nice and firm. Go down. Okay. So now it's just a matter of actually dressing up this card. So I'm going to start by putting some glue onto, I cut out 4 of these flowers. So I'm going to put 3 onto the flaps of my box, like so. As I say, I cut out 4 of these flowers, and I stamped and coloured them first and then cut them out. And put them on there. My last one, I actually put on some dimensions. So let's pop him on some dimension, and I popped that into the back of onto the back part of the box. Oops. Now when you're doing this, you've got to remember not to go above the top of the box. If you go above the top of the box, then you're going to need a bigger envelope. So we have ours in the top corner like so. Out the sides is different, because when you've got this up like here, this only measures 5.5 inches, so you've got a 1/2 inch to play with overall extra. So I'm going to then get my teapot, and I've got my few strips of card here, and I'm going to pop my piece onto the back of my teapot. And I'll do the same on my 2 other, oh my goodness, teacups. So I'll cut that piece down. I'll pop these onto the back of my 2 teacups at the top. And as you're not going to see them, and they match in, these are the same colour, so it's really good, they match in with the cups. So I have my teapot and my teacups, and this is for my little saying, which I haven't stamped out yet. So while we're just waiting for those to dry a tiny bit, we'll stamp out our saying that says, I'm glad you're in my life. I'll stamp it in the middle and then cut it, it's easier. So I'll stamp that one there, and I'm also going to use my trimmer to trim that off. Now for me, when I'm trimming, I like to put it in so that when you've got it in here, you can actually see this line here, oh, you can't see a thing. This line here, the cutting line, the words are virtually right on the edge of that cutting line. So when you cut through, it's in the right spot. How clever is that? It's just a little trick I found of my own. I will then trim these off. Or maybe not quite that long, short, because I'm going to pop this on round the corners of the top of this. I won't round both top and bottom, just the tops. Oops, well maybe I won't, because I can't hold it up against that one. Let's do it on the other board. That's better. And there we go. And then I will pop this up onto another piece of our card to pop in the front. So starting with our teapot or whatever we're going to put in the back, we can work out where we want him, how high we want him, as long as he doesn't go over the top of the top of the box. So once you're happy with where you want to put him, you can pop some glue onto the bottom and glue him to the, and I'm putting him over to the left a little bit. I might actually put him as if he's pouring even in this one. So he's like, so he looks like he's pouring. And he will still be inside the box, as you can see. You can always keep checking to make sure that they're not going to be outside of the box. With my cups, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to put one over this side, so I'm going to pop one onto the left hand side, on the, well, that's the right hand side, like so, and making sure that it's too far out. Oops, he fell out anyway. Making sure that he's not too far out of the card. So we know that if he's facing this way, he's inside the card, but we need to watch where the other one's going to be. Stop over there, silly thing. And then we pop the other one in on the other side, over here. Stay there, and then I actually put a dimension between the two so that they actually move together, like so. So when they're inside, there's only that tiny little bit out the side there. If we do it the other way, there's just that piece out, but we can fold it either way so we know we can get it into the box. And then for the last one, which I'm just going to pop down the bottom here like so. So I'm going to stick that all the way down this piece of card because I just want just the words showing, nothing else. So I'm glad you're in my life, and that's our card. Let's pop on some some little bits of that are just so cute. Oops. So let's see where we're going to pop this one. I might pop this one into the middle of the teapot because you have to put things in three. If it's even, then it's wrong. So it's always got to be an odd number. Let's pop the glue lid on the top of that again. And then I've got some glue dots here somewhere. Here we go. Oh, open from the top. It makes it a lot easier. And I have an old dragonfly here that I've had hanging around my house for ages. I've had quite a few of these from different times, and we'll pop some glue dots on that, and we will pop the dragonfly just down the front here like so. And that is our card. So let's get on to the envelope. So with our envelope, what we need is our 9 3/4. So if you're thinking of Harry Potter, you'll know what I'm talking about, if you're a Harry Potter fan, that is. You need the 9 3/4 piece of card, and you need your punch board. So let's move my card out of the way a bit, and we'll open this up. My punch board is called a 1 2 3 because it's a memory keeper's board. But I love it because it does boxes, it does bows, and it does envelopes. So that's why it's called 1 2 3. So with our piece of paper, we're going to pop this in here at the 4 7/8 mark, and we're going to punch it and score it. We're going to turn it so the score line then matches up with this notch here, which in my case, because it's a square one, it will still be the 4 7/8. I'm going to punch and score, turn again and line that score line up here again, punch and score, and once more punch and score. Now if your envelope is like a normal envelope shape, not a square one, your second lines will be different measurement, but don't go worrying because that's how it's supposed to be. So now I'm going to just round the corners of this. So if you don't have a normal corner rounder, you can always use your corner rounder on your punch board. Let's get rid of those bits. And now we're going to, because the pattern's going on the inside, we're going to then fold and burnish all our score lines so that our pattern is on the inside. Then before we make this up, we're going to do our flower. So once again, we're going to stamp our flower in the top left hand corner and the bottom right hand corner, and we're going to once again colour our leaves using our our blend pens. So which only takes a few moments, luckily enough. That one, let's do the other colour. I'm just going to do just that. I'm not going to go over it again on the front because there's no need. And then with our dark magenta madness, we're just going to go around the edges again of our main rows, and on this paper it seems to spread, so that's one of the reasons why I'm not going around the edge again second time. Depending on some of the papers, it spreads really badly, and others it just sits there beautifully. This particular one, it doesn't actually like it very much. And then over the top with our light one, I think sometimes they think envelopes should be plain, they shouldn't have pictures on them, but they are beautiful when they are hand given. And that's our envelope. So then we're going to turn it over, fold in our two side pieces, and I have thinner tape here which is 1/4 inch, and I'm going to pop a piece down the left hand side first, down to the cut line, not past it, and then I'm going to pull the tape off the top and bring the right one over so that it sits on top of it. That way they are glued together in the centre there, and then pop my right side one on down to the same spot. Move my tape out, take the release tape off the top and bring the bottom up to fold over the top. And that's our envelope. If you're going to put this in the post, you can put more tape on the top here. So that's our envelope. Oh my goodness, it went right through. Never mind. And that's our card. Oh, that's my first card. That's my second card. I don't know which one I like better, the blueies or the greens, to tell you the truth. And here's my Christmas one. Oh, come back, Christmas one. And there's my Christmas one. And I think that they're all just so gorgeous. I hope you have enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you have, please leave me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, that way you won't miss any future videos, and I'd love to hear from you, so please leave me a comment, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.